I have a hot spicy take today. My Hero Academia is great. I just watched My Hero Academia season 6. Yep, today I'm gonna be talking about MHA and I don't care if you think I'm a normie, cause I kinda am. My Hero Academia is a series that has completely blown away my expectations on just how good and popular it could get. Multiple episodes have broken the internet. Chapter 290 trended #1 on Twitter, beating out the US elections. The manga just reached 85 million copies in circulation. The 3 anime movies sold like hotcakes. But after season 5, we all can agree that something has changed. Don't get me wrong, the series is still popular and it earns Shonen Jump a fortune, but it kinda has become the black sheep of the anime community. It somehow is cool to hate on MHA these days, and the question that has always been on my mind is why? So I went and rewatched the entire series from the start to find out why. Yeah, I know I'm jobless. If you dropped MHA in season 5, I totally get it. Because the arc that season 5 adapted was not very well received in the manga as well, because it was too slow and was just not interesting. Especially going from a 20 minutes display of all manner of talent coming together to animate the fuck out of Endeavor vs High End to kids battling it out in some school is just not fun. Admittedly, season 5 hits hard right at the end, setting the tone for season 6. So if you fell out of love with MHA, trust me, this is the time to get back into it. Cause season 5 may have been the low point, but season 6 is the evolution. Right off the bat, season 6 hits the ground running by adapting arguably the best arc of the entire series, the Paranormal Liberation War. It's an all-out war between the heroes and the villains. They pulled out all the stops for this arc. It's everyone fighting everyone. This was the climax for all the build-ups in season 1. The stakes are higher than ever, and talking about stakes, MHA is generally regarded as a show which has very low stakes for at least the start of the series. Cause most of Act 1 of the series is spent in school with pro heroes who are there to save the day if something goes wrong. The students rarely did anything outside the school. In defense of this, a lot of people say, well, it's My Hero Academia, so what did you expect? Which in my opinion is dumb, cause yeah, the name has academia in it, but the show itself shows us stuff way beyond a normal academic life. That being said, I do not agree with the original statement, cause generally stakes are always associated with some world-altering event or many character deaths, big stuff like that. But stakes can hit hard on a personal level too. For example, Todoroki vs Deku on a surface level is just a semi-final match of a school tournament. World doesn't give a flying fuck about this fight. But the importance of that fight for Todoroki and Deku on a personal level elevates the stakes through the roof. Todoroki going above and beyond to stop himself from using his father's quirk are stakes, and Deku's drive to make him use that quirk because it's not his father's quirk, it's his own quirk, are stakes. Deku winning this fight would get him to the finals, but that was never his purpose to fight. It was for Todoroki to accept his quirk and use it as its own. Cause giving help that's not asked for is what makes a true hero, and My Hero Academia does an incredible job in emotionally connecting the viewers to the characters. That is the reason even high school fights have such a big impact on the audience. And in a way, having realistic backgrounds to the characters may reduce the stakes, but it makes them so much more relatable. Cause I can relate better with a kid feeling worthless than a kid whose entire family got murdered by his own brother. Anyways, going back to season 6, as I said, the first 13 episodes cover the war arc, out of which the first 8 episodes are brilliantly adapted in the anime. Mirko vs Nomu's was amazing and a perfect start to the season. Big animators like Yuki Hayashi and Norimitsu Suzuki came and gave Mirko the treatment she very well deserved. Shigaraki's awakening was also great. I seriously am annoyed with how little credit the CGI team of Bone Studio is given, because the sequence of Shigaraki bringing down an entire city would be impossible to look so good without the use of CGI. But then episode 9 happened, which covered the big fight of season 6, and let's just say I was disappointed. I already made a video on this episode, so I won't repeat myself. Go check out that video. Next is the Villain Hunt arc, or the Black Hero arc if you really wanna call it that. The pressure and sense of being responsible for losing Shigaraki drives Deku to go insane and start his vigilante arc, gazing his eyes over the distorted city. Although I do think that this arc is the fundamental reason why many stuff in the future go wrong with the story, but from a pure entertainment point of view, this arc is nuts. I mean, just imagine having Deku go rogue, Class A vs Deku, Bakugo's apology, and of course Uraraka's speech with the title drop in one single arc. It's insane. And the anime went crazy to make this one of the best arcs of the series. Deku vs Negant was beautifully animated. Especially the scene of Yutaka Nakamura was hype. Class A vs Deku and every other moment that needed the special treatment got it. And overall it was a roller coaster of hype and emotional scenes. It was just epic. What comes next is me talking about every single thing I like about MHA cause I'm obsessed, and most of it is not even related to season 6. But fuck you, it's my video. What fascinates me the most about My Hero Academia is that it is probably the most shonen anime I've ever watched, but at the same time it feels like one of the most fresh and unique shonen ever. That's the reason most of the fights in the series are so simple. It always comes down to a punch or a little strategy, cause it doesn't need any complex fight technique. My Hero Academia epitomizes how a fight is not always about the action. Oftentimes, the fights are boiled down to their simplest versions so it doesn't detract from themes that have been laid out in the dispute. In many shows, every fight tells a story, but in MHA, the fight itself is the story. The show has done a good chunk of its story writing through its fights. Every single fight has a purpose because if they don't have any purpose, they are glossed over and not given much screen time. Initially, I thought this show was a simple show about heroes and villains, showcasing the simple tropes of shonen anime but mastering everything almost perfectly. I mean, we literally have a hero and a villain alliance. Things couldn't be any more black and white. But as the series went on, that simplicity was challenged through the character of Stain. It's unbelievable just how important this character will be for the future. We are in season 6 and his presence can still be felt even though he's not literally in the show anymore. He introduced this grey area in the world and the level of depth to the villains of this world. Stain's fight in season 2 was so goddamn important to the world and the overall narrative of the show. But if you continue to look, you will realize that every single fight we have been shown has been done in service of developing the world or the characters. We cheer for All Might because he is throwing his last punches to uphold his ideologies and image as a symbol of peace. We want Deku to save Eri because if he can't save one small girl right in front of him, then how will he ever become a hero who saves everyone? We want Endeavor to beat the shit out of this high-end because we know how hard he is trying to atone to his family for all the horrible stuff he has done. We want to see him make his start as the new number 1. Every action has been given meaning behind it, which is why most fights come down to that single beautifully animated moment, because the weight of that moment is insanely heavy, and it doesn't always have to be a punch or a fight. It can be pretty much any moment that has been given enough weight and meaning to it. These are not fights. These are climaxes to character arcs that are just happen to be concluded with a punch. That is why the series doesn't need overly complicated action. The fight itself doesn't matter, it's how the fight serves its purpose in the grander scheme of things. In My Hero Academia, every arc, every character, every fight has revolved around its core theme of heroism. I can't think of another shonen anime where every fight or every event happens in service to explore its one core theme. It's an epic that happens to tell a lot of its story through action scenes. It consistently is able to tell very human stories behind the blasting action sequences. And that's why Hero Aka feels so different from other shonen series but still remains true to its core shonen formula. And this is why My Hero Academia is true shonen.